What's up, retards? I already recorded this video, but because of my stupid OBS and my stupid microphone, this video is sponsored by my friends Embo and Izzy, who both wanted to be featured in the fucking video. They're gonna repay me in
unexpected item in bagging area.
So earlier today I went and saw It Too, which was okay, I guess. But I had already seen It 1, which I thought was a terrible fucking movie. But yeah, I'm gonna jump into some pros and cons, and I want to start with the cons because there's a fair few serious ones. So It Too for me just wasn't really fun to watch. I just didn't find the plot interesting. I couldn't relate to them at all, and generally it wasn't. Although it was a horror movie, it didn't feel like one. It felt more like a comedy, to be honest. So the majority of the movie, the only scares in it, jump scares. And if you're only going to utilize jump scares in a horror movie, then you are shit at making horror movies. I tell you that much. If you want to make a good horror movie, you need to be able to instill dread in the audience without having to directly expose them to whatever's, horrific. And if you do, you have to do it right. And they do it with Pennywise, and they try to make it, oh no, killer clown, big scare, OMG, look out, killer clown, he's gonna get you guys. It just comes off as completely retarded, and that's what it is. Pennywise is a literal retard, I'm pretty sure. It's like, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure. I'm so sleep deprived. But with Pennywise as well, he's like one of the main characters in the whole bloody movie, and in chapter 1 as well. And he's got no depth whatsoever. He's got no backstory. And like I said, all we know is that he's a killer clown. He likes to kill kiddos. Fucking MLG snipe him, am I right? Fellow gamers, get your Mountain Dew and Doritos out. And you better start screaming at your mum for some chicken tendies. His origin isn't, it's explored a little bit, but it's not explored to the point where you can genuinely go, oh, that's a character that's actually interesting. And I'm gonna keep going back to this because I love this character, but we see in Avengers Infinity War, we see Thanos as a character that we can relate to, and even though his motives aren't, very good and aren't the right choice, we can still relate to him and see, yes, we can see why he's doing this. But for Pennywise, he's not doing it for any reason. He's doing it to sustain life, yeah. That's like a primal instinct. Other than to sustain life, he's really got no purpose of being alive. And that's about all there is to Pennywise's character. And I feel like after 27 years, the characters from Chapter 1 would have developed a bit. In Chapter 2, they're they'd be nearly 40 years old. They'd be in their mid-30s. I think somewhere around there. And they're still really childish, back-chatting to each other, nearly getting into fights and whatnot, not trusting each other, not helping each other. They really I think I have fucking cancer. Holy shit, I actually can't speak. But the characters don't really seem to be bonding that well, other than the fact that they're like, oh no, we're all scared of this clown, But it's just, yeah, this is not very fun to watch because the characters don't seem to enjoy each other very much, and that's a bit silly in a movie where it's like, we have to work together as a team to defeat this evil demon. So you actually gonna work together? You're just gonna sit there and bicker the whole time? Like, shut up. But we also have pointless plot points. And there's no spoilers, obviously. I'm trying not to spoil anything. But we get scenes with a kid, who now lives in Bill's house, and there's a little plot about this kid, and it ends up not being interesting at all. Nothing really comes of it, other than Bill's like, oh no, I'm not very good at what I'm meant to do, and that's about it. And then he's like, gotta kill clown, and then it goes back to normal. It's like it's not very. It has no point to it if you're gonna show. And it's at the start. This is a bit of a spoiler, but like no one cares about it shit anyway. Um, Beverly gets abused. Obviously, that's in chapter 1, but she also gets abused by her husband in chapter 2. And we see her at the very start get like whacked with a belt and shit. And throughout the movie, she does have marks in her arm, which I thought was very realistic and very nice of the director and all the people who worked on the film and everything to keep those marks there to show a bit of realism. And I like that in movies. If you're gonna show a character get stabbed in the eyeball, then don't just like allow them to regenerate an eye or some shit. Like that eye has to stay out. But in this case, Beverly didn't lose her eye. There's also towards the start of the movie, the characters, every single character needs to kind of gather their own memories back, and they show every single character getting their memories back, and it's really annoying because this sequence takes at least like 25 minutes, I'd say, of the characters just walking around Derry and just being like, hey dude, these are my memories. Uh-oh, you just got jump scared. I don't understand. Like, they did it, and they could have focused on, say, Bill's and Beverly's storylines, and they could have really like used them and utilized them to the point where they're really interesting storylines just for that 25 minutes. But no, instead they're like, hey, I'm going to split all of this up into 5-minute intervals that only show you snippets of what the characters are doing, so then you don't actually connect to them in any real way. But instead you just sit there with your dick in your hands, waiting for the next scene to come about. It's not fun to watch. And then we get other, like, and because of that, and because of the short intervals that we get to see each character, and not that that's a bad thing, you can really make that work in certain situations, but I feel like it wasn't properly used here in chapter 2, and like a character will die or whatever, and I just laughed about it. I didn't care. And it was meant to be this really serious death, and everyone's like gathering around. I'm like, no, please don't die. We love you. Like, losers stick together. Someone's gonna die. I'm just not gonna say who it is. Someone's gonna die. Multiple people will die. I won't tell you, but you get the gist. But it's meant to be this really heartfelt moment. It's meant to be heartwarming. All the characters are gathering around them to like wish them off and everything. And it's like, hey, let's just leave their body here to rot. Like, it leaves you wondering. You get to like the point in a movie where instead of sitting there and being entranced in the atmosphere, you kind of sit there and you just criticize the little shit. Like I was speaking to one of my friends about it today, and she said she was watching a horror movie once, and because it wasn't scary and she didn't care for it, she sat there and like a glass got knocked off a table at one point, and the glass was filled with water, and instead of being worried about the next thing, like fearful or whatever, she just said to herself, well, who's going to clean up the glass and the water on the ground? And it gets to that point where you know that you're completely uninterested in a movie, to the point where you're going to start picking at little shit to try and make it interesting. And that's what I found myself doing with it. Just picking at stupid shit like, well, what happens to his body? How is this structure going to collapse? Or things like that. That doesn't matter. And it completely kills the movie. Although I think certain things in the movie were done well. The CGI was definitely better than it was in chapter 1, but it did still feel a bit clunky. There was a particular scene that I loved, and I loved it, and that was it was a scene with Beverly, and she gets chased by this old woman, and this old woman is like 10 foot tall and has really saggy tits, and realistically looks like SCP-106. I'll put an image up on the screen because I'm a cool kid, and looks like a female version of SCP-106 with really saggy tits, and it's gross. But it's a bit of a meme. No one really cares for it. I sat there and watched her tits sag from side to side, and I just looked over at my friend, and he just looks back at me, and we both just start giggling at each other, and it's really childish and whatever. But like, we just don't care about enough to take it seriously, even though it's like this fully naked woman who's like grey and disgusting and just a vile creature chasing this poor innocent lady down a hallway, and you can't do anything but laugh because of how stupid it is. So it's, yeah, and that's how it is. But we also get to, like, towards the end of the movie, where the end fight scene is really lackluster, it's predictable, and ultimately it makes no sense. And here's a little spoiler, so like if you don't like this, like skip 40 seconds ahead or whatever. So like originally the loser's plan fails, and they need to think of a new way to defeat the big boy Pennywise, and they come up with the stupidest idea ever. They're like, let's just talk shit about him. I mean, if we make him feel small, then maybe he will be small. And I'm not going to tell you if that works or not, but put simply, that's a really dumb idea, and it's a really dumb choice if they made that work. Like, how can you sit there and go, this pretty much immortal being who's, nearly, omnipotent in literally every sense of the word, he can control reality around him, and they just go, well, if these 5 dudes talk shit about him, then maybe, like, he'll die. Like, are you fucking retarded? If you gotta, you don't see people in, like, in America being, shot and whatever, and when they get shot, they just go, you're a bitch, and the person just fucking crumbles to the ground. Like, that shit doesn't work. And I don't care if it works for, like, spirits or whatever, because it's just bullshit. It is absolute bullshit. The thing that probably pissed me off the most was the ending, and not because how it was done. I think the very final shot is a very generic shot of just the kids, or not the kids, the loser group, strolling away on their bikes or whatever. Like, introduced like 4 separate plot points in the past, in like the last 20 minutes, and once again they're split up into like 5-minute intervals, and it just, I don't care for it. They could have, the movie goes for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and they could have made it go for 2.5 minutes and just shortened down the ending and just compacted it into this one little scene, and it would have worked perfectly. But instead, they chose to expand it out as long as they can, just to over their audience. So yeah, I just thought the ending was way too long. But I'm going to get into the pros now. I'm going to try and make this a bit short. I want to try and wrap it up. So James McAvoy, who plays Bill, this is possibly my favourite part of the movie. He literally looks like Pro Jared with a little bit of a stronger jawline, I'm not gonna lie. No, but in all seriousness, he plays his part pretty well. I wouldn't say he's the best actor there. I think he does play his part well, and he's one of the stronger characters in a, feels a bit more sane and like an individual, instead of just being like, haha, generic funny meme, haha, look at me, I did a funny, I told this man to be quiet because he's a stinky head. But if I feel like the person who played their role the best was, if I pronounce this wrong, my apologies, it's Isaiah Mustafa, who plays Mike, who is the person who stays in Derry after everyone else leaves. And I just feel like he played his part really well. He's the only one who seems human. And we don't have to go through the tedious process of watching him regain his memories because he already has them. We get a really cool little backstory part of him, and this is where they really expose us, like that 5-minute hit of just, like, even if it was just like a bunch of information at once, it still worked really well, because we got to see his character learning more about Pennywise, learning as much as he can, and like the lead up to the fight with Pennywise and whatever. And he just seemed like he really cared, and because of that care, I cared for him, because Mustafa seems like he really respects the craft of acting, because that's what it is, it's craft. And look, he's really good at it. I would just say that. You can go watch it for yourself, but if you want to look out for someone and you really want to have a deep connection with anyone, Mike is a really good character in there. But then we also, I'm going back to a bit of a meme here, but we have Jay Ryan, who's the former thick boy Ben, if you remember from chapter 1. And I just gotta say, Jesus Christ, Jay Ryan has the jawline of Hercules. Holy shit, that man is a literal Giga Chad. Like, he's that buff, he could flick you in the chin and knock you out instantly. Like, he'd give you brain damage if he just poked you in the skull. To be honest, I didn't really like his character that much. I much preferred it in chapter 1. Because we could feel a lot more sympathy for him, but after he gets buff and everything, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being buff, but like thick boy pride and all that. But he just seems like a character that's a lot easier to sympathize with in chapter 1 compared to chapter 2, because he doesn't experience that much trauma and torment compared to what other characters do. And there are some, I'm not gonna lie, there are some jump scares in it, which do land, and they're mainly the ones that catch you by surprise, when jump scares are meant to. But you expect to get a jump scare at one point, and you won't get a jump scare. And then right as you think you're not gonna get that jump scare, one comes up and you genuinely shit yourself. And I found myself saying, I mean, with most jump scares, like, oh, go away with the jump scares, like, it's so cheap. And then you got some of them like, oh, geez, that genuinely scared me. But yeah, that was nice. I do have to say, like I said before, the CGI was nice. I don't mind some gore in movies if it's done right. I feel like it was done pretty well here. It was done brutally. I'll say that much. A lot of it was shown, so that's pretty cool. I can respect that. And then yeah, the characters, look, all the characters are in the are good actors. They have to be to get a good role like that. But I do feel like sometimes you can really sense the fear in them, and that made moments in the film, but there just wasn't enough of it to actually care for them. And finally, before I start to wrap things up, I'd just like to say that I was one of like 7 people in the cinema, so I had like heaps of room to move my leg, and it was like super comfy, so it was pretty epic. Before I just want to leave you with some final comments. I think that for a like a top tier movie with such a reputation, and it has such a reputation and a budget, and this preconceived notion that this movie is going to be absolutely terrifying. I don't think it met that at all. Yeah, I think it completely broke the mold, but in the wrong way. A movie that was meant to come off scary mainly had me laughing a lot of the time, and I might have a bit of bias towards it one because I sat down with 2 of my mates and we just memed on it the whole time because how bad the CGI was. But that's just me. Like I said, that gets to the point where I'm just nitpicking on things because I'm bored of the movie. But overall, I think I'd give it maybe, because I'm gonna say above average, just out of pity, to be honest. I think Mike and Bill really made the movie, if anyone was to. And there were some genuine ha-ha moments in there, but that was mainly due to my 12-year-old humor and the 12-year-old humor of the Losers Club, whatever it is. Like I said, slightly above average, probably 55% at best, and that, like I said, that's a pity. Yeah, that's it. So yeah.